Welcome to today's episode of our podcast, where we are honored to host Dr. Newton Howard, a true luminary in the field of brain science. Dr. Howard's journey, starting with a deep-rooted passion for mathematics, amplified the boundless potential of human intellect and determination. His work has taken him across multiple continents, significantly contributing to the field of neuroscience, cognitive enhancement, and technology. Dr. Howard's extensive resume includes pivotal roles, such as being the former director of MIT Mind Machine Project, and as a professor of computational neuroscience and functional neurology at the University of Oxford. There, he also led the Oxford Computational Neuroscience Laboratory, and his influence extends to the MIT Synthetic Intelligence Lab and the Center for Advanced Defense Studies. As the chairman of the Brain Science Foundation, he has been instrumental in advancing our understanding of the brain. So from his early years, Dr. Howard's journey in science and technology has led to remarkable academic achievements. His contribution, notably to the theory of intention awareness proposed during his tenure at the University of Oxford, and his work in neurodegenerative diseases accumulating in the brain code theorem, have had profound implication across various domains, including military, law enforcement, with his intent-centric approach revolutionizing decision-making. His research has significantly advanced our understanding of cognitive processes, particularly through his mood state indicator algorithm, which offer insights into human speech and emotional states. Dr. Howard's ongoing work include exploring functional brain and neurointerfacing. His theoretical model, like the fundamental code unit, enhance our understanding of a brain disorder and aid in developing pharmacological and therapeutical tools. More notably, he's working on the Kiwi chip with his company Ni2O. As we begin our conversation today, please keep in mind that we had some time constraints and technical issues in this episode. Not only I wasn't able to ask all the questions I wanted, but we also didn't get into depth on some of the things he mentioned. And as much as I wanted to, there were some more pressing questions, so I went over some of the things that he had mentioned. Dr. Howard already agreed to come back for another episode, so feel free to comment with any question you might have for him next time. So join us as we embark on this enlightening journey with Dr. Newton Howard, exploring the integrated working of the human brain and the remarkable advancements in neuroscience. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. No problem today. It's great. All right. Dr. Howard, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I am so excited to have you on. Our audience is also very excited. I received so many questions to ask you from them. Unfortunately, I know we only have a little bit of time, so I kind of try to combine them all at once. But let's start with your journey and let the audience know a little bit more about you. So you moved to the United States. It has been a significant chapter of your life. So can you share with us what make you come to the US and how this influences your decision to start in the field of neuroscience?
Sure. I had always been interested in science and technology. When I was young, I participated in a science talent show and worked on a small hydrogen engine that was noticed. And as a result, I was invited to come to the state. And I was 11, 12 years old. So it's a long time ago.
So you started young.
Yes.
So once in the US, what was the pivotal experience you encountered that shaped your career path? How this US experience contributed to your specific interest within neuroscience? Because you started in mathematics, right?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, my earlier studies was in mathematics, modeling actually the human mind and the human brain in an apparatus known as intent. And I created the theory of intention awareness at Oxford that we later were using in military setting and other governmental settings, government systems. Then I pivoted after I received the TBI, traumatic brain injury myself, and wanted to understand how do we go about solving these problems and helping others that having similar type of injuries.
Okay. So you had a unique and active role in Afghanistan. Is it where you got your TBI? And can you just share a bit more about this journey and how it got you where you are now in terms of your research on the brain?
Right. Well, actually, it was the location is not something that we're supposed to talk about, but um, it's it is received around that time. I wouldn't call my experience in Afghanistan like extremely significant period, but it had significant impact on how I saw things in national defense and in supporting this nation, that nation building in Afghanistan. Worked on a few projects that relates to uh, getting rid of crops like opiates and whatnot, and other things that help support Afghan settlements in the U.S. and whatnot. So.
Okay. And how those experience got you into neuroscience? Was that like the fact that you had a TBI experience and that all those experience like really influence the groundbreaking theory you had, such as like the theory of intention awareness or the development of Kiwi?
Right. So, when you experience TBI, you go through a slew of treatments and treatment strategies depending on the practitioner and whatnot. And I noticed that some of the um, most obvious steps were kind of ignored, and um, I felt that some other strategies, like in electroceutical, not in pharmaceutical, were underutilized in treatment, and that they should be, um, and attention should be brought on some of these electroceutical methodologies like TMS, tDCS, DPS, and I started pursuing that in my personal journey of building the Kiwi chip and building a solution that can actually be used in those treatments.
Okay, so could you share a bit more about what treatment you were giving for your TBI? What did you end up doing on your own in order to help repair your brain?
Mostly, most of the treatments were pharmaceutical agents like your standard SSRI, SNRI, and um, uh, stimulants and these type of things. They don't really work most of the time. They work sometime, but not all the time. And thank God I was lucky that I was able to substitute that with TMS, transmagnetic stimulation, and tDCS, transcranial stimulation. And I saw great results, and I saw returning back to normal from that.
So before we dive deeper into tDCS and TMS, have you experienced with anything else in order to try to repair your brain and for your TBI, something like agent like cerebral license, for example?
No.
No.
Yeah, I've been just like mainstream. They used mainstream strategies with me.
Okay.
Um,
So let's dive a bit into like TMS. For those who don't know, is transcranial magnetic stimulation, and tDCS, transcranial direct current stimulation. So how do these treatments, can you explain a bit more? How do these treatments work in layman's terms? What potential do they hold? And in what condition can they be used?
TMS has higher penetration, obviously, because the energy is about transferring energy into your brain.
Okay.
So In one case is magnetic form, and in other cases direct current form. The brain needs harmony. You need things not to be under firing or over firing. So with these type of electroceutical solutions come in, they help the excitatory areas to be suppressed a little bit, and the areas that are underperforming to come up to par, creating a harmony in the brain. They don't work right away. They have to do multiple sessions, obviously. On average about 14 sessions. But you start seeing effect almost immediately after the first few sessions.
Is that what you experienced with your TBI?
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of like TMS, I'm curious. What condition can it be treated? Is it only for people with TBIs? And what would be, like you say, you see results immediately. In terms of comparatively for different things that you can treat, how effective or what's the percentage of effectiveness compared to regular treatment? Let's start with TBI and then we can look into other conditions that you can treat.
Right. According to the literature, the effectiveness is really, really high.
Okay.
Greater than 80% response. The treatment can be used even in autism spectrum disorder, and has been used in that as well, and as well as OCD, anxiety, bulimia nervosa, depression, PTSD. So it is really broad in its use. The same applied with tDCS. Although tDCS has lower penetration because it's a lower energy, you have to use higher number of sessions to get the same results.
Okay, so TMS works with magnetic and tDCS work with current.
Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned a lot of things that it can be treated. Is it needed the same amount of sessions in general? And is it like the same, let's say, a pattern or like intensity for each different things that you can heal? And is it 40 sessions across the board, the average, to see the results? And are they permanent, or do they need other sessions after?
No. The intensity, duration, power, and the location of the stimulation differ from one condition to another, and the number of sessions also differs from one condition to another. On average, you can reach up to like 36, 40 sessions, and you would have to do maintenance sessions, like once a month or so.
Okay. And what's the difference in terms of results, or like why is magnetic better than the current, or is this better for one specific condition compared to the others?
It really is a convenience. Like if you're using the TMS, you have to go to a clinic and you sit in like sort of a dental chair, and the magnetic wand actually is like focused on the area that you're stimulating. While tDCS, you can do it like while you're running on your treadmill or watching TV, or sitting in the comfort of your own home.
Okay, but it takes more sessions, correct?
But it takes a little bit
With
more
TDCS,
sessions. Yeah.
And so I learned first time about TMS because a friend of mine had a TBI and he was doing sessions. But other than that, I've never heard it for any other brain condition and brain disease that you mentioned. Do you know why is it not as popular as it should be if it's that much effective?
It's just young.
Okay.
It's a very new type of treatment and strategy, and it's gaining its momentum. Not not right away known in all circles, but there's a lot of research that was done on specific populations of mental health and conditions.
Okay, and so it means like not a lot of places are offering those services, so it's hard for any patients to go and try to get
Yeah,
those treatments. Are they
yeah.
usually covered by insurance in the US?
Um, I am not sure if there's an insurance code for it, but in some cases, I did hear that yes, some places do cover it with insurance.
Okay,
On average, it's still relatively expensive.
okay,
But tDCS would become the second substitute, and it would be much cheaper to own the
it,
device and to do it yourself.
okay. Yeah, I think I saw some tDCS device out there. Can you tell me what's the, or I'm sure there is a difference, but how is it differing from vagus nerve stimulators that we can see out there? tDCS, not TMS, obviously.
It's just the power.
Okay.
The power and the penetration is very is weaker in relation to TMS and ECT and others.
Uh,
Uh, yeah,
So if we have to class them, basically, like the lowest level will be vagus nerve stimulation, then tDCS, then TMS.
yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about the brain and some of the disease. Like we see, obviously, an increase globally of neurological disorder, such as like Parkinson, Alzheimer, but also like increase in depression, addiction, PTSD, anxiety, just to name a few. Um, in light of this, like I know your research involved the brain, I know you have some research involving Parkinson, like what are the current non-surgical treatments available and ideally non-pharmaceutical treatment available? So we talk about TMS obviously, but are there any other ones, anything that we can look for in the future? Which one are the most effective? I'm really interested to hear like about your opinion, your research, but also your input on this.
Right. There is also ECT, which remains to be the most effective of all.
Okay.
And then there is the new classes of psychedelics and things like ketamine infusion and whatnot, which seems to be effective but a little bit higher risk.
Okay.
And they've been really good in cases where suicidal ideation is a high risk. Um, they There is a relationship between the gut, obviously, and the brain, and there's a microbiome type of things that coming, uh, uh, you know, uh, useful strategies to resort to. In the case of neurodegenerative, the gold standard is obviously the treatment is levodopa, but the gold standard in surgical is DPS, and that seems to be far more effective than anything else. There's a lot of devices out there that are coming into market, and should be uh, in the market soon. We're
Like
working on such some devices, like the
like
Kiwi
the
chip,
chip.
for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I saw your presentation. I was
yeah,
blown away. Like really, with that close, like it's just it's there. I when I didn't know about the Kiwi chip. I first heard about the chip with Neuralink, and I heard they were doing the first human trial, and I'm like, when it first started, it seems like a world far away, but we are closer and closer. How
yes.
close are we to starting seeing human having chips integrated in on an like as a treatment option, and then how close or far you think we're going to start seeing people having those chip integrated in their brain when it comes to just improve their cognition or like just controlling different computer and machinery, like how far is this?
Within 2 to 5 years, we'll find a higher adaptation for treatment conditions,
Mm-hmm.
and within 5 to 10 years, you'll find a higher adaptation into brain augmentation, just casual brain augmentation. Um, the challenge remain in the surgical and the invasive nature of the surgery, and that kind of represent a huge barrier.
Okay. Yeah. As long, well, I forgot which movie where they just plug the tiny microchips in. Hopefully, we get that in my lifetime. Well, I
Yes.
want to talk a bit about cognitive enhancement and cognitive abilities. I'm curious. What do you do for keeping your brain as performant as possible? I'm sure you do some things.
There's a lot of herbal things. I take omega-3, 2,000
Okay.
milligram,
Same.
and there's other supplements out there. I won't belabor it. Um, you know, um, Saffron obviously is understated in that space, but saffron tea works magic on the mood
Yep.
and on focus. So
Yeah, we had a whole video on saffron and the studies that were on there. So I actually take saffrons when I need a cognitive boost in the morning.
good.
Yeah. Are you taking the omega-3, like the medical prescribed version? Or are you taking the
Yes,
regular? Okay.
1,000 milligram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's all you do? Do you
that's
do
it.
like in regular meditation, any brain exercise?
Music, cello, uh,
Okay.
instruments is highly encouraged for the brain. Um, Exercising, although I'm guilty of not doing that. But exercising is really good for the brain. And yeah, that's it. Not a lot of not a lot of things.
So the audience we have, they are very used to having stacks for different things. And I recently came across somebody that gave me their stacks because they were studying medicine. And everything is based on research, obviously. And I'm gonna have to read it for you because I found it absolutely impressive that somebody has a dedication to actually take all of this, and I want your opinion on that. A lot of them are pharmaceutical, but this is a gentleman. He didn't disclose his age, but is currently in med school. So he's taking in the morning in empty stomach 4.5 milligram of naltrexone, 5 milligrams of donepezil, 2 grams of EPA, 1 gram of NSE, 1 gram of L-theanine, 25 milligram of DHA, 10 milligram of propranolol, 30 milligrams of zinc, B complex, and once a week he does 150 milligram of testosterone, 500 IU of HCG, and 2.5 milligrams of letrozole. And when he needs to study, he adds propranolol, uterine monophosphate, alpha GPC, paracetam, and dextroamphetamine sublingually, and 4 milligrams of nicotine gum.
Wow, that's one
So
hell of a load on the kidneys and the liver.
yes, so they do also take. He mentioned the rest of the day. This is just when he studies. So in order to counter those effects, he does take some TUDCA, and I'm guessing if he's a long-term follower of the channel, he probably does intermittent fasting and also quarterly, like 5 to 7 day water fast. So I guess this could counter-interact on the liver, not much on the
Yeah,
kidneys. But
yeah.
what do you think about those people that are more and more inclined of improving their cognition, their memories, or getting any asset? It's something we haven't seen before, and people were studying the same way. And more we see people being very interested in enhancing cognition. So they take things like amphetamine, even if it's getting less popular, or modafinil to give them an edge. Like, what's your opinion on that? And what advice would you give somebody that is not doing anything yet and wants to still improve their cognition memory because they feel like they're behind?
Very risky, obviously, because everything that we take has a counter effect on the cellular level. They, I would say that a much simpler thing is just to do TMS sessions regularly, organize these ions and these electrons, and get your brain in harmony. That's probably an easier, far more effective and cheaper way than all this pharmaceutical agents and supplements.
So TMS also work in terms of improving cognition
Yes.
and performance?
Yes,
Does it
absolutely.
also help? So can you dive into more technical aspect of how can it be? Like, how can magnetic field can reorganize? Does it like create new BDNF in some areas that we're trying to control? Is it working through like rewiring some of the neurons? I'm very curious.
It excites things and trigger corticogenesis, which is process of actually building more neurons and building more connections.
Okay.
Among other things, as well as organizing, ionic organization and putting brakes on excitatory areas and that kind of stuff. So it works in multiple mechanisms, some of which we don't even understand, but it works.
And it has been like studied for cognitive improvement. Does it work
Yes.
also for, let's say, people that are athletes? I'm guessing, I mean, the brain is so important in terms of everything we do. So it's like if I'm an athlete, I'm trying to improve my performance, would TMS sessions help me achieve that?
In a sense, one would arguably say yes, but I don't think there's the specific study that I can point to that.
I mean, in an indirect way, obviously, like if
Yeah.
I'm more cognitively sharp, I can achieve like probably higher goal, push my body a bit further than normally.
Yeah.
Okay. When can you do some TMS sessions on me?
We will be opening a clinic in Encino soon, and hopefully we can get you there and get you to try it.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to. You say you feel results from the first sessions. I'll be happy to report everything and then tell you how it works. No, really, it's like I'm a single mom. I have a lot of past trauma that I try to work through more holistic approach, and also try the psychedelic approach as well in a tiny dosage, which helped a lot. But I still feel like I'm not performing to the best of my abilities, like I used to at least. In my early 20s, my brain was a powerhouse, and now it's good. It's not where I want to be. Yeah, but I'll be happy to try first. Do you have a date of opening for the Encino Clinic? It's not too far from me,
Approximately
actually.
6 weeks from now.
Okay, so very soon.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah. So now I want to talk more about some upcoming projects. So you mentioned you're opening a clinic for TMS only, or would I have tDCS as well?
tDCS as well, yeah.
Okay. So can you also give us a glimpse of like what you're currently researching, what any projects are coming up, or what are you involved in terms of neuroscience and cognitive enhancement?
Currently working on the Kiwi chip, the one that is implanted inside the brain for Parkinson and Alzheimer. And that's been occupying me for quite a bit. We are hoping to go through FDA very soon and get that process behind us. So,
okay, nice. Hi. And finally, I was genuinely curious. I want to understand, like, you have accomplished so much, and you're still doing a lot. Yes, Habibti. Attends, mon cœur, 2 minutes. Ok, j'arrive. Pas dans le salon. J'arrive, Habibti. She opened the door. Thank you. So yeah, I'm genuinely curious to understand what's your ultimate vision and what legacy you wish to leave behind, because it feels like once you have accomplished something, a lot of people stop in what they're doing because they feel satisfied. It seems like your satisfaction level is or your curiosity level is at all-time high from anybody else I've seen. So do you have a like long-term goal or dream or anything, some kind of legacy you're trying to leave behind?
I like to see that brain health becomes a very common place that you go, for brain tuning, similar to how you go to the dentist. I'm hoping that one day I can contribute to brain augmentation through the prosthetic that we're building, that we can eradicate number of these diseases, and they will be a thing of the past, similar to things like malaria and other infectious diseases.
That's a great goal, and I'm hoping you get there, because I always say that's something I want to be able to live and experience, and that's why I'm trying to be as healthy as possible so I can live longer to see how the world and technology is going to change and how, as human, we're going to evolve. It feels really in this era with AI and how the technology has evolved and where it's going. It really seems like we are going to experience a lot of changes in our society. We already do.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, Dr. Howard, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming in. For the audience, I will link all the link on the link in the descriptions of his company and Dr. Howard. If you want to look at what is done, which is a lot, you're going to spend a lot of time. I read a lot of papers before this interview. Other than that, if you have any questions for him, let me know in the comment sections. We might have him again to answer more in-depth questions about maybe certain disease and other brain things that people want to know.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.